Hey guys, so I just want to share with you what I'm catching a lot of the Spanish mackerel off the beach on. I know a lot of people are just going to use, metal jigs, cast those out, steady retrieve, or steady retrieve with a pause in between. A lot of people are using live bait, stuff like that. But I'm doing really good with these tandem rigs that I'm tying up on my own here. So what I'm doing is I'm tying up a tandem rig with either the double glass minnows, so a glass minnow at two different lengths, or a glass minnow up top at the higher point of the jig, and then a metal jig, whether it be this is a Beach Bum Lures jig or a Big Nick jig or a Hoagie jig. Those are all working really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm tying these tandem rigs. I'm going to use red thread to do this, just so that hopefully it's much clearer. Let me get these out of the way while I'm doing it. So what you're going to do first to tie this tandem rig is you're gonna lay your line out, and you're gonna figure out the lengths that you want your jigs to line up at. So what I usually do is I do the shorter jig about a half or a third of the way is the longer jig. So this is good right here. You can see my shorter jig is gonna be maybe half as long as the longer jig. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick up the line at the loop end. You're gonna create yourself a loop here. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to tie an overhand loop knot. So you're just going to take this loop, you are going to cross it over the line. Okay, so I'm going to take my loop here, I'm going to cross it over the line, and then I'm just going to bring it back underneath and back through the loop that I made. So I take my loop, I go over the line, I go back under through the loop, and then you're going to pull it tight. And that's really all there is to an overhand loop knot. And then you can see you can put your finger in there, and that loop knot, that is what you're going to tie your main line to. Keep in mind, if you want a barrel swivel on there, you would just put the barrel swivel on before you tied that overhand loop knot. I'll use a barrel swivel sometimes if my jigs are twisting up on me. So then we're going to bring that out, and then you have two different line lengths where your jigs are going to tie to. You have the short length and the long length. The short length, if I'm going to do the tandem jig like I am right now with the glass minnow jig, I've had much better luck putting the glass minnow at the higher point, on the shorter line length. So now what I'm going to do, tie this glass minnow jig on with an improved clinch knot. So I'm going to take the line, I'm going to run it through the eye of the hook. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist the jig 6 or 7 times. 4, 5, 6, we'll do 6. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tag end of the line and I'm going to run it back through the loop that we created right at the eye of the hook. So you have a loop that you've created there. I'm going to run the tag end back through that loop. Okay, and then what I'm going to do to finish it off is I'm going to take the tag end and I'm going to run it back through the larger loop that we created here. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull everything tight. You're going to cinch down your knot, and that's it. So that's an improved clinch knot right there. And then of course I'm just going to take my scissors, snip off my tag end, and there you go. So you got an improved clinch knot. Now keep in mind you can tie loop knots and stuff if you'd like more action on these. I don't find any problems just using an improved clinch knot for Spanish mackerel. When you get into a school of Spanish mackerel, I don't think it matters one bit. They're going to bite everything that's around them. So we're going to run. Now we're going to run the Hoagie jig at the bottom point, the longer line jig too. So this is going to be the trailing one. A lot of times this does get hit. It seems like this is kind of a teaser, and then they hit the back jig, which is the Hoagie jig that I'm going to use right now. This is a 3/4 inch Hoagie jig. Okay, so I'm going to do another improved clinch knot. We're going to run the line through the eye. And again, we're going to spin it, 6 or 7 times. Okay, now remember we've created a loop right up tight here to the eye of the jig. So we're going to run the tag end through the loop there. Okay, and then remember you also still have the larger loop, and what we're going to do is take the tag end and run it back through the larger loop towards the line, and that's just going to give us a little bit of a stronger knot there. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is you got your tag end here. I'm just gonna put my hands kind of on this knot here, and I'm gonna kind of run everything down and let that kind of clinch down on itself. And that's it. And then what we're gonna do is take our scissors, cut our tag end off. And that really is it. That is the exact tandem rig that I'm using for a lot of the time. And pretty much what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cast that out, and I'm just going to twitch it, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I'm going to change my cadence depending on the fish, how they're biting. Are they biting it when it's on the bottom? Or are they biting it when it's on the top? If they're super aggressive and they're chasing bait, I'm just gonna constantly twitch the tip of that rod a million times. You'll see in some of my videos, I'll just twitch, 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 and these things are just darting back and forth, and the Spanish mackerel, bluefish, everything loves them. Now keep in mind, these jigs, you can tie them with soft plastics as well, like paddle tails or artificial shrimp or Lil John, you know, twitch baits, stuff like that, and they work fantastic for speckled trout and red drum and flounder and all of that stuff. So really, really good setup. These things have great action. It's a really great jig to learn how to tie. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Other than that, tight lines, guys.